Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the English Story Nook. We are so happy you are here to learn with us today. Today, we're diving into a story about the challenges of working from home. Get ready to discover what happens when a professional named Adelaida makes a mortifying mistake during the most important video call of her career. It is a story about how a moment of panic can be turned into a moment of triumph. Before we dive in, if you enjoy our stories and want to support what we do, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and consider buying us a coffee on Ko-fi. There's a link in the description below. Every like, subscription, and small contribution helps us keep creating great content for English learners like you. Let's get started. You're still sharing. Adelaida Pinado's apartment had been meticulously converted into a command center. 3 monitors formed a glowing semicircle on her desk, each displaying a different facet of the project she was about to present. For weeks, she had been preparing for this moment. The pitch to a potential new client, represented by the formidable Jeffrey Rock, was her chance to lead a major account at her firm, Agile Adversus Schwer Solutions. If she succeeded, it would be a significant step in her career. If she failed, well, she preferred not to contemplate the alternative. She smoothed down her blazer, took a deep, centering breath, and clicked the Start Video button. Her colleagues' faces popped up in a grid. Her supportive boss, Thomas Ali, the ever-critical Judith Molino, and the quietly brilliant Abbas Van Biesen. The client, Mr. Rock, appeared last, his expression unreadable. "Good morning, everyone," Adelaida began, her voice betraying none of her inner turmoil. "Thank you for this opportunity. Today, I am excited to walk you through our proposed strategy." For the next 30 minutes, she was flawless. She navigated the complex data with ease, answered questions with confidence, and presented her team's solution as the only logical choice. The presentation slides, which she had meticulously redesigned late last night, were clear and persuasive. As she delivered her final sentence, a wave of relief washed over her. She had done it. She smiled, feeling the tension release from her shoulders. Thomas gave her a subtle thumbs up. "Excellent work, Adelaida. Truly comprehensive." Mr. Rock nodded slowly, a flicker of what might have been approval in his eyes. Adelaida's smile widened. It was at this precise moment of triumph that Thomas cleared his throat and uttered the 9 words that would come to haunt her dreams. "Adelaida, just so you know, you're still sharing your screen." The relief froze in her veins, replaced by a cold, creeping dread. Her gaze darted to the corner of her main monitor, where the thin, glowing border confirmed the horrifying truth. Her entire desktop was visible to all. And her desktop was a chaotic reflection of her inner state. There, for everyone to see, was a half-composed, deeply informal email to her friend Bibiana Pacheco, with the subject line, "This project is eating my soul." Next to it was a browser window with the search query, "Can you actually die from burnout?" And, most damningly, a chat window with her sister, Cindy Ramirez, detailing the inopportune timing of a truly terrible date she'd been on the previous night. Adelaida felt her professional facade crumble into dust. She was completely mortified. Her hand flew to her mouse, but in her panic, she knocked it off the desk. It clattered to the floor, the cursor now frozen stubbornly on the screen. A digital silence descended upon the meeting, thick and suffocating. She could feel the eyes of her colleagues, and, worse, the client, boring into her through the screen. It felt as if this awkward moment would stretch into eternity. Just when she thought things couldn't possibly get worse, her cat, Mochi, chose this exact moment to leap onto her keyboard. A flurry of random characters filled the chat window before a new folder popped open, its contents displayed as large thumbnails. Awkward family holiday pics. This was it. This was the end of her career. She would be a cautionary tale, a meme, the woman who self-destructed in the most public way possible. But then, through the haze of humiliation, a strange clarity emerged. Hiding was impossible. The damage was done. What if, instead of letting this disaster define her, she tried to control the narrative? It was a terrifying, impromptu decision, born of pure desperation. This whole situation was a genuine conundrum, and the only way out was through. She took a deep breath. "Well," she said, her voice shaking only slightly, "it seems you've all been given a rather comprehensive look behind the curtain." She gestured vaguely toward the screen. "Let's consider this an exercise in radical transparency, a core value here at Agile Adversus." A nervous laugh escaped her. "As you can see from my search history, our team is so dedicated that we push ourselves to the absolute limit. This personal experience is precisely why our proposed solution includes such a robust employee wellness and burnout prevention module. We don't just theorize about these issues, we live them." Her confidence began to build. This was crazy, but it might just be working. She pointed a finger toward the email, complaining about the project. "And this," she continued, her tone becoming bolder, "is an example of our commitment to unfettered communication. We believe in honest, direct feedback at all stages. It's how we refine our ideas and ensure we're not just creating an echo chamber." She saw Abbas Van Biesen crack a smile. Even Judith Molino looked less severe. The initial shock was wearing off, replaced by a kind of stunned admiration for her audacity. Her resilience was on full display. Then, she addressed the final, most personal item. "And as for the dating feedback, that just proves my ability to navigate complex negotiations with difficult stakeholders, even in the most inopportune circumstances." At that, Jeffrey Rock, the client, let out a loud, genuine laugh. The tension shattered. "Ms. Panado," he said, a wide grin on his face. "I've sat through hundreds of these pitches. They're ubiquitous and, frankly, usually forgettable. I can honestly say I will never forget this one." He was still chuckling. "Your ability to think on your feet is more impressive than any slide deck." The rest of the meeting was a blur. The client loved the pitch, but more than that, they loved her. They loved the story. When the call finally ended, Adelaida slumped in her chair, utterly drained. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Thomas. "You are absolutely mortified, I'm sure, but that was the most brilliant recovery I have ever witnessed. Let's talk promotion on Monday." Another message came through, this one from Cindy. "That was the most unfettered and frankly legendary display of professional resilience I've ever seen. You turned a complete conundrum into a win." Adelaida looked at her chaotic desktop, no longer a source of shame, but a battlefield she had unexpectedly conquered. She had tried to present a perfect corporate facade, but it was her messy, authentic human self that had won the day. She knew the story of her impromptu presentation would become ubiquitous around the office, but for the first time, she didn't mind. She had faced the ultimate virtual nightmare and had not only survived, but thrived. She had preemptively turned a disaster into a triumph, and she had learned that sometimes the best way to handle a crisis is to preemptively embrace the chaos. That's the end of our story for today. Adelaida's quick thinking was truly impressive. We have a question for you. What is the best way to handle an embarrassing situation? Share your ideas in the comments below. We always enjoy reading your wonderful thoughts. And remember to check the description for the free PDF and other helpful resources to keep practicing. Thank you for joining us at the English Story Nook. Keep practicing your English with a smile, and we can't wait to share another story with you very soon. Happy learning, and goodbye for now.